So for gratitude, bringing it full circle, how did you go about producing that? Did you do it all yourself? Did you have people helping you out or
Definitely had a lot of help with it.
yeah?
And like, so I wrote the song originally. Like, I wrote it on guitar.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I have this acoustic guitar hanging on my wall right here,
Hmm, hmm.
and I like guitar was my first instrument. Like,
Oh, cool.
um, I got like a Epiphone Les Paul thing when I was in like fourth grade, fifth
Hmm,
grade, somewhere
hmm,
in there,
hmm.
and started playing. I used to play guitar in church growing up and everything, and that was
Okay.
like that was my go-to instrument.
Hmm.
I like played guitar basically up until the day I left for Michigan State. And like when I got to MSU, I even brought my guitar with me, but then when it became all about trumpet so much, like I just didn't have time for it anymore. So I
Hmm,
started selling guitars and buying new horns and and
hmm.
just like maybe 3 months ago, my friend Seth had this acoustic laying in his apartment, and I was jamming on it, and he's like, "Dude, I actually have two of them. If you want to keep that one, you can." And
Whoa.
I was like, "Dude, like, are you serious?" And
Hmm,
I mean, it's not like a crazy expensive guitar or anything, but it's
hmm,
like it's nice. And I
hmm.
restrung it, started toying around again, and I like fell in love with guitar playing again.
Yeah,
And
I
so
love
I've
it,
just been
man.
like in my room jamming and like
Hmm.
figuring out new licks. And I'm actually like buying a Strad this week too
There
from
you
one of my
go.
friends. Just because like I completely fell in love with guitar again. I like missed it so much, and it's
Hmm,
just a different like texture. So
hmm.
I wrote this melody like dun, da, 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 and like that was all like chords on the guitar. So I had it, and I kept like playing that loop, and it stuck with me. Um, I guess long enough that even like a couple weeks later, when I picked up my guitar at my parents' house in Michigan,
Hmm.
I like started playing it again. And Dutcher Snedeker was over at my house, keyboard player, and
Dude, the man. I love that
so
guy.
that's how the whole thing went down, because I was like, yeah, Dutcher, I had this idea for a song. He had been like laying keys down on a couple other things for me already. Like
Mhm.
other I'm working on an album right now, which is like
Oh,
low key, but
cool. Yeah.
um he was tracking some stuff. He brought his whole like keyscape setup over and everything. And so I was like, yeah, Dutcher, I had this idea for a song, and I played it for him, and it was just like a couple chords, it was a loop. And I like I did all my own drums on the track and everything too. Um, but I played that guitar loop a few times, and Dutcher was like, "Yeah, here," and he just started playing keys, and I started hearing like more of it like come together, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is sweet." I
Mhm.
was like, "Oh, it'd be dope." I was like, "Let's get Brandon. I'm gonna get Brandon Rose to play bass on this." I don't know if you know
Yeah.
Brandon.
Yeah,
He's a
dude, he did a
Detroit
video
bassist.
with Paddle Bats.
Yeah.
Same what you
Oh
did.
yeah, 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 yeah. And
Yeah,
we did the
with
Christmas
Tez.
thing with him
Yep.
too. Yeah.
Hmm, hmm.
So Brandon's my homie, and we work back and forth. He just had a new album called Transition come out,
Cool. Cool,
or
cool.
Transitions, and so I recorded some trumpet on that for him. And
Hmm,
we're always like kind of bouncing projects back and forth to each other.
hmm.
But I hit up Brandon. He got on there, and then so earlier on in the week, like 2 days before I had gotten back, I was in Detroit at, I forget the name of the studio now, Rust Belt
Hmm,
Studios.
hmm,
Um, and I was recording for Mario Sulaksana's record.
hmm.
Uh, and he had like a bunch of like really talented musicians in there working, but Sasha Kashperko, guitar player, was on the
Hmm,
session.
hmm.
And if you don't know who Sasha is, Sasha is like a Detroit local guy,
Hmm,
insane jazz guitar player, R&B guitar player.
hmm.
He does everything, and he does it like top notch. I mean, it's one of the best guitar players that I have ever met in my entire life, hands down.
Hmm.
Um, so he was on the session, and we like worked together on a couple tracks while I was there in Detroit. And so, yeah, I mean, Sasha's worked with Common. He's like worked like,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, he's like big time, like really good guitar player.
Hmm,
I got back into Michigan, or got back into Leadington, and we got Brandon on the track. Dutcher was playing a little bit keyboard, and I started laying the drums down. And I was like, this really like needs like a really good guitar player. Like, I'm not cutting it.
hmm, hmm.
And so I hit up Sasha on a whim and was like, hey, dude, like, how much would it take for you to record on this for me? And he was like, send it over. And I sent it to him and he just gave me a rate and was super chill. And I just, Venmoed him. And he sent back these like stellar takes, like the breakdown in the middle of the song is, I mean, without Sasha, the song wouldn't have. And so I texted him back. I was like, dude, like you made this song, like you. So, and I just said, I had like car keys and I was like using those for drums, some other random like little nail boxes. And I use random stuff.
We also heard like bubbles.
This is a box of nails.
Okay. Yeah.
That's cool, man. I remember listening to it and distinctly saying to Zach, "Who is playing guitar on this?"
Sasha.
Sounds so good. He's got like a little thing at the end that he does.
Yeah,
awesome, man.
I literally didn't take anything out that he played. I just put it all in there because I was just like, none of this is bad.
It's all good.
It all sounds good.
Works.
Yeah. And so I kind of let him have that little outro thing because I just, something about it just sat right with me. I was like, yeah, that's it. So, but then I sent it over to Norbert, the guy I had mentioned before. He's a PM for Warner, and basically he writes, mixes, masters. He does everything, like writes all these tracks, and he does it year round for Warner. So he truly is a mastermind in the studio. And I'm actually, you'll be seeing some stuff about this, but tomorrow I'm going to Counterpoint Studios with him here in Utah, and which is where what's his name? Post Malone records there all the time.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because he actually lives like near. I think he lives in Park City.
Yeah.
So we're going to Counterpoint tomorrow. We're recording a trumpet sample pack. And we're actually making a track together there tomorrow, and then releasing the sample pack as like a splice package, and so people can download like horn samples and stuff. So, but Norbert, I know how the track sounded when I sent it to him, and like he just put that extra like sparkle on it. Because when I got it back, I was like, this has to go on Spotify. It's like it's ready. He just
it's ready.
Yeah. So I definitely, I can't say that I needed that help. Like I needed that help to be there in order for that track to succeed. Because I can't say that I did it all on my own. I didn't.
Trumpet. Can you elaborate on the trumpet sample pack? Like, is that so? If you're like a recording musician, you have access to trumpet sounds. Is that how that kind of works? Or?
Right. So like beat makers are always looking for like horn samples and stuff. But I don't know if I'm sure you're familiar with Brass Tracks. They've done a couple sample packs for Splice that are like pretty epic. Like, I mean, we're talking like fat horn layers. And so now like there's a lot of hip hop artists and people who are using Brass Track samples in their stuff, like layered horns. We're doing something similar, but maybe with our own unique touch. So it's going to be a lot of like little stabs, hits, licks, stuff here and there, just so like when people are making a track and they want something to add a little flair, they can just like pop a horn sample in there, or potentially make a keyboard out of the trumpet sounds and stuff, people are so creative, but if you just give them those tools to work with, hopefully spark some creativity and inspiration.
That's cool. I had no idea that was a thing. No idea. That's really wow. What a cool perspective. As a horn player, it's like you can create these sample packs that people can use.